So what are you doing?
Since it just rained, I'm gonna plant beans right beside the corn. Because in the third plate book I've been reading, if you plant squash, corn, and beans together, they're called the Three Sisters. They're good companion plants. Pretty much, the beans will grow up the corn stalks, while also providing nitrogen, so you don't have to stake the beans. And then the squash, they're supposed to cover down low and block out the weeds, so you don't have to weed as often. At least that's the hope. So I'm just going to plant them right at the base and see how it goes. And yesterday we put a little bit of fertilizer. This is what this is. And another thing I learned yesterday, while I have the beans in a can, is a couple weeks ago we were planting beans, and Kaya, maybe me as well, we got our muddy hands in the bean container, and we opened them up yesterday, and it smelled like a dead animal. The beans got moldy, so we're trying to keep the beans that we're not using dry. I'm just going to poke them down with my finger as best as I can.
How far are you putting them in?
Maybe like ½ an inch. The ground's still a little bit hard, but it should soften up next time we water. I think these are Chinese cabbage, but I may be wrong. I was reading a couple of days ago, this weed, it's called lamb's quarter, and supposedly rabbits and chickens like it. I don't know, we've been giving it to the rabbits and they've been eating it, so. And this growing in between everything, their comfrey starts. They kind of just pop up everywhere. But we're not going to take them out because they're nitrogen fixers. And that's a good thing. And we made the mistake a couple weeks ago of planting the beans too high up on the wall, but water just doesn't get to it, obviously. And you don't want to plant it right next to the water, you kind of want to plant it.
Well, you didn't explain how this raised bed works.
Yeah, that's true.
Go on, explain it.
Well, not too long after we got here, this whole area was just flat, well, except the first 3 rows. And Julianne was wanting to try out a new system. I think it's the Mittleider system. I may be wrong. Where it's instead of just doing normal rows for a garden, which that's what I've always seen, kind of taking the idea of a raised bed, except you don't really build the wood platforms around it. We just sloped up the sides with rakes and shovels, and then actually Julianne had a couple of old hoses she took, cut little holes in them. Find one a little bit. And then every 3 days or so, the beds get watered. And since they're raised like this,
With a little divot.
with a little divot in the center, they hold water better.
And heat.
And heat as well.
They're quite hot. The sun hasn't been out all day.
As you can see, they're pretty successful. They do take a lot of work, but hopefully next spring the beds are still here if the winter isn't too bad.
She's gonna keep the beds?
She's thinking about it. Either keep the beds or maybe get pigs in the fall to improve the soil quality.
Eat all the weeds.
Eat all the weeds and obviously add their manure, and it's really going to help the soil. Because right now it's just really dry, and once water gets to the soil, it has an issue with just compacting down. And that's why we planted a lot of radishes over in a couple beds over, just to help with soil compaction. And why all these beds are planted so thick is the hope is that there'll be less weeds. And we've been thinning them, but not in the sense of what most people do. Because most people, they'll just thin something and then throw it off to the side like, oh well. But we actually get a lot of greens for the meat rabbits every night from these beds, which is really helpful.
And for ourselves.
Yeah, we eat out of the beds too. But a lot of the greens here go to the meat rabbits, which cuts down on their feed bill so much. I love the greens. They get them like a big bunch every morning and every night. Especially since two of the mama rabbits have babies right now. The babies are eating the greens too, and they're loving it. Because if you just feed the rabbits weeds, the weeds just don't provide enough nutrition for them. And eating the greens, that's how they get a lot of their water too, since it's hot during the day. You don't want them to overheat, so the greens really help them. So you can see why this tin's coming in handy. Otherwise, if I was sticking my finger in that, I'd get all of the beans muddy. So it's just helpful to have something little to pour them in.
Dirty beans.
Yeah. But it's going to be easier to plant after it just rained this morning. Or even after you just watered. Now this is what I'm talking about. So, pretty much this is an old piece of hose. And if you don't want to go out and buy an expensive soaker hose, you can just use what you have. Which, I mean, you know, hoses, they get holes in them. So instead of throwing them away, you can just cut more holes in them. And then you can take a second hose and cut a little section like this. And then you put them over the holes to kind of spread the water out, so the hole isn't just going, or the water isn't just going to one place, it's spreading out. And yeah, it's just just a cheap solution. I've never seen it before till I got here.
You out of beans?
I'm done with this row, so I guess I'm done.
What's your sign out phrase? Everybody's got one.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You watch enough YouTube, you should know.
Like and subscribe, I guess.